Hey guys, it's Phoenix Android Radios here. In this video, we're going to be looking at the 2007 to 2014 radios for the GMC Yukon, Tahoe, Silverado, Avalanche, and Suburban. It comes in three different colors. This is the silver, we have the walnut, and then we have a third option, which is maple. This works for both the manual AC and the auto AC vehicles. Just really quick, for the install of the radio, this is the back of the radio. This is the manual AC version, and rather than taking the factory AC plug box, connect them straight to the back of our radio. For the auto AC vehicles, we just have one plug, which this plug controls these buttons. If you don't have these functions, the short presses do not have any function, but you still can program the long presses to do something on the radio. So this plug is for these set of buttons. For the auto AC vehicle, you have to remove the factory AC panel and the board. You have this cable here, have the factory plugs back into this board, connect this here, and you have several screws, 4 screws, to mount this board on the back. This is the auto AC version. This is the manual AC version. The radios come in a 4 GB RAM, 64 hard drive, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of hard drive, and 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of hard drive. 3 different storage options and RAM. When you get the radio in the box, you may receive it fully set up like so, but when you're doing the install of the radio, you can notice that there are several clips here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6 in total. You have to pop this panel piece apart. And the way to do that is kind of grab it by the screen here and kind of pop it off with the clips. So there's one here, and one here. 6 total clips. Once this panel comes off, you then receive these screws. You can use the factory screws if they fit, but these 6 screws are for the side panels here, where you will, once the connection's made in the car, mount it inside, screw these screws. Once it's mounted, you have 2 cables here that need to go on the back panels to get the buttons working. Connect the 2 panels and clip the bezel back onto the screen. In the box, you get the screws. You can use the factory screws. All the radios come with a SIM card antenna for the SIM card to get 4G signal, a factory GPS antenna adapter. You also get an external GPS antenna. You can use one or the other. Just check the GPS settings in the radio for green bars. A main cable adapter. This is to adapt the power cable to connect to the back of our radio. So this will fit up here, and this will connect to one of these 2 harnesses, which we'll look at really quick. So you will get this adapter. You will also get a aftermarket or factory backup camera connector, and this is a 10-pin connector. A circular speaker, which this 2-pin connector connects to the main cables depending on which one you get. 2 USB cables. One of them has 1 USB port, and this is the main one for the built-in CarPlay or Android Auto. And you have another USB cable with 2 ports. These are extra, but they also do power, and you can plug in a USB flash drive with video and audio files. You have an external microphone, which we don't recommend connecting unless the factory microphone is not working on the radio or the built-in microphone is not working on the radio. There's also a reset button here. If you take a paper clip, you can press it, and once the screen goes dark, you can let go of the button. So if the built-in microphone does not work and the factory microphone does not work, you have the option of an external microphone. The last harness is these RCAs, which is where your SIM card slot is. There is also another SIM card slot on the back of the radio. You can use one or the other. And this connector connects to the top up here. One thing to note is have the clip facing downwards, like so. The RCAs here are for aftermarket sound, if you plan to hook up an aftermarket sound system. And that's these RCAs here. You have a subwoofer, front, left, and right out. And the other two sets are on this harness, where you have RCA RL and RCA RR. The other RCAs here, you have an external mic input for the external microphone. And you have an aux-R and an aux-in input if you need to retain the factory aux jack on the car. You also have an aux video in and a right camera in. So these radios are for 2007 all the way to 2014. And depending on your model year, we'll ask for more details in the email. But majority of the time, if you're a 2012 and you have with navigation, you're gonna have a large box connector like so. And this is the harness you'll be getting. You'll also be getting a radio antenna that has this type of head adapter and a USB adapter to support the factory USB port on the vehicle. Connect this male portion to one of the two USB cables. Say we connect it to here. Connect this to the vehicle. So for 2012 and above with navigation, you likely have a box connector, and this male connector needs to connect to this adapter, which this part can then connect to the back of our radio. If we look at the RCAs really quick, we have several RCAs. One is aux-L and aux-R. Rear screen audio, right and left. Second row screen video. This is if you have a monitor on your second row of seats at the back. You have Onstar audio. So the factory Onstar is supported. You will have that sound and command. Factory backup camera. And aux-V, which is the video for the aux-R and aux-L. And coming from this adapter, you have the RCA RL, right, rear left, and RCA RR, rear right. So the main thing we'll be connecting is if you have factory backup camera, we have a male RCA. That needs to connect to the 10-pin connector with this female RCA. And this will get you your factory backup camera. If you have an aftermarket one, just connect your aftermarket into this RCA and not this RCA. For the Onstar audio, if you want to support the factory Onstar, you need to connect this to the RCA harness here, the one that has the SIM card reader on it. And one of them is labeled aux-in. You could use the right or the left, but just connect to one or the other, and you'll have the Onstar sound. If you have a second row screen or monitor on the ceiling or the headrest, this RCA is an input for the second row monitor. So if you want to put a video feed through here, you can see that on the monitor on the second row. You have the rear screen audio R and rear screen audio L. This is the audio inputs for the rear screens. One example is you could connect a HD TV tuner that we sell on our website and connect the RCAs into these inputs, and you can see the TV tuner on the rear monitors. You have the aux-R and aux-L. This is to support the factory aux jack on the car. And you have aux-V. So these aux-R, aux-L, and aux-V would connect to the RCA's connector, which corresponds to aux video in, aux-L, and aux-R in. So if you need to support both the Onstar and the factory aux jack, you may need a splitter to duplicate these jacks. This is the 2012 version. The main difference is this box connector. If your vehicle year is possibly lower or you don't have navigation, you'll have this type of harness. And the main difference is you have several of these connectors that match the vehicle. One thing forgot to mention is both connectors have this, and this needs to connect to the back of the radio, which comes right here. Without this connection, there will be no car communication. You'll get this USB adapter, kind of looks different, and this radio antenna adapter. It's a different head versus the 2012 and above. Same with the USB port. Looking at the RCAs, you have the rear screen audios, like earlier, aux-R, aux-L, and aux-V. You also have RCA FL, front left, RCA front right. And this is only if you have a factory amplifier. Now, if your vehicle does not have an amplifier, use this one. If your vehicle has an amplifier, use this one. And you also need to connect the RCAs for that amplifier. And this can connect to one of this sets of RCAs. Front out, front out. You also have the Onstar. To support this, connect this RCA to aux-R in or aux-in L, one of these two for the Onstar. For the second and third row inputs for the monitors, you can put a video feed through here and you can see the video on your monitors on the second row or the third row seats. You have the factory backup camera. Connect this male RCA again to the 10-pin connector here. You have a center speaker audio. So this is for the audio if you have a center speaker, say in the windshield area. This male RCA connects to one of these two RCAs. And the last one is subwoofer. If you have a subwoofer, connect this male RCA to the green one here labeled subwoofer. Really quick rundown, we'll connect it here. On the back of the radio, we have our radio antenna, the 5G Wi-Fi antenna, GPS, where you can connect the factory GPS if you have the 4G antenna for the SIM card. And you have two USB cables, one with a single port and one with two ports. The built-in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is the single port. With the clip facing downwards, we can connect it to a 4-pin connector here. And the extra 2 USB ports with the 6-pin connects right next to it, clip facing downwards. And these 3 USB ports, we route them outside the car so that they're accessible. The RCA cable connector with the SIM card slot. And this is a manual AC we have with 2012 and above harness. We've already connected this adapter, which all radios need. And then this can connect to the top here with the clip on the left side. Once that's connected, be sure to connect this 2 green wires with a 10-pin, with an 8-pin connector. Make the connections to the vehicle. You have this connector here, which needs to go at the bottom here. Clip facing upwards. Once these plugs are made to the vehicle, you can connect the air conditioning. Not all 4 plugs are used. They have a certain shape to them. Match them accordingly. And then here we have is the factory backup camera, which we also need to connect this 10-pin camera RCA here. And the factory backup camera will connect to here. If you have an aftermarket, you can connect the RCA to this one. The other RCAs, if you have a rear audio or a monitor on the back, on the second row seats, you can use these. And if we do, we'll be putting a video source into here. So you can put a HD TV tuner. You have aux-R and aux-L. And we have Onstar audio that we want to support. So we can connect that to this RCA connector, which is labeled aux-in L or aux-in R, depending on which one you want to connect, right or left, but it's mono. And this is to support the Onstar. The last RCA is aux-V, but that corresponds with the aux-L and aux-R for the audios. You will receive a circular speaker, and this is the audio that will come out for the blinkers when you turn left or right turn signal, as well as the door chime. And this connector connects to the main harness. Hard to find, but it's a 2-pin connector right here. The circular speaker can be routed outside the car, but inside behind the radio is okay too. It is loud enough for that. That does it with this connection for the 2007 to 2014 GMC Yukon, Suburban, Silverado, Avalanche, and Tahoe. It comes in silver, walnut, and a darker wood color, maple. Works for both auto and manual AC. And thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any other questions, send us an email or give us a call. Send us a photo of your vehicle dash and we can determine if it's compatible or not. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.